How embarrassing to post yourself crying. Why would someone do that? Why would anyone post themselves breaking down? It is such a sign of weakness. But is it? Is it really? Actually, I've done it. I've grown up doing it, and many other people have grown up crying and posting a picture of themselves crying, live streaming while crying, and sharing their grief. It's actually a very healthy way to express emotions, and it is not a sign of weakness. I understand that a lot of you were raised to believe that holding back tears is a sign of strength, and not showing your emotions is actually quite the opposite of healthy. It does not make you stoic, it does not make you cool. It actually makes you a ticking time bomb and can hurt your mental and physical health. Yes, you heard me right. It could hurt your physical health because you're bottling up emotions. Sharing emotions is human and we all do it. Also, live streaming gives us the opportunity to look back at ourselves from a different perspective and actually analyze our feelings and thoughts because we're looking at ourselves in a vulnerable moment. So we can analyze it and learn from it. And then we process it and we move on. This is such a healthy way. I understand a lot of the older generation may be a little bit unsure about it, but today we're going to talk about live streaming while crying. I've done it. I've posted pictures of myself teary-eyed and crying in a mess, and I do not regret it. This is Jackie Gonzales. This is Talk to Jocks, my podcast. And please subscribe, comment, share, and like, and be sure to turn on notifications. So, why crying? Selfies and live streaming emotions are actually good for you. Older generations, like I said, and no hate, okay? I'm getting older too. We're all getting older. It is okay. But I am going to communicate to you why it's actually a good thing, and just because it's different and it's not something that you're used to doesn't make it bad. You might not fully understand why we do this, millennials and Gen Z, and that's okay. What matters is that we're creating spaces where people can be themselves, messy, emotional, and real. This is part of the reason why people love, TikTok. Please don't be banned, TikTok. I have to do some more spells so it doesn't get banned. This is why people love Twitch. I used to stream on Twitch and used to do ASMR, but I also used to stream and vlog my daily life. And it was wonderful just having that community there. I also just streamed on TikTok, and it was wonderful having that community, having hundreds and thousands of people just being, hey, are you okay? And checking in with me and confirming my existence and confirming that we all get sad and it's not just me. Because when you feel that it's just you, that's when it affects your social wealth, your mental health, your mental well-being, your spiritual well-being. For some people, crying selfies or live streaming emotional moments might seem like oversharing or even attention seeking. This couldn't be farther from the truth. For me, it was when I was really sad and I really couldn't talk to my friends or close ones about it. And talking to a stranger really helped me. Think of it like an unpaid therapist. And it helped me think about those emotions and digest them. And then I was able to move on and figure my life out. So it might seem like oversharing, it might seem attention seeking. It's never been about that. Growing up in the age of smartphones and social media, which is kind of funny because when I was in school, Wikipedia was seen as a bad thing and not a credible source, and it's the most credible source now in 2025 for information. So take that, professors. No, I'm kidding. Take that, middle school teachers. Seriously, though, my middle school teachers were way too. They had a sign: no texting, no Wikipedia. Uh, so we're weathering an era of selfies, live streaming, and posting our emotions. It is a way to connect with people on a deeper level. It's not about drama or extremism. It's about being human. And a lot of people tend to misunderstand this. It's not a sign of weakness, and it's not extreme. It's simply another way of expressing emotions and building an authentic community, an authentic connection. In fact, I'd argue that they're healthier than the bottling it up because I don't want hypotension. Crying selfies validate emotions, while live streaming builds a community. When I take a crying selfie or live stream during a tough moment, it's not to broadcast pain for attention. It's to acknowledge what I'm feeling and to share it with others who might be going through something similar. Selfies validate emotions. Live streaming takes it one step further, creating real time connections with people who genuinely understand. For example, I've live streamed during moments of sadness, not to seek out pity, but to create a space where others can say, I feel that too. And they do. People reach out, comment, or just watch silently and sending the little hearts. And it's such a mental boost. It makes me feel so good. It really ups and enriches my life. It ups the social wealth factor. It ups the abundance mindset that we're not alone. Part of the scarcity mindset is feeling like there's not enough. But when you share and you're vulnerable, you find out that there's more than enough love, there's more than enough community, there's more than enough friends. You have everything you need once you are vulnerable. And people reach out, they comment, they watch silently. You're not alone. And that's the most important thing to know, that you're not alone. It's often a world where we feel disconnected, even though we're connected 24/7 all the time. I literally take a time to put on Do Not Disturb to just take a break sometimes, and it feels really good. This is similar. We all have to take care of our emotional well being because it correlates with our physical well being. Older generations grew up in environments where emotions were private. And we understand that. We're not shaming you for that. But please don't shame us. We just want the same understanding. Crying was something you did alone, behind closed doors, and that did not seem very healthy. So it's no surprise they misunderstand why someone would share such a vulnerable moment publicly. But for me, it's not about attention, it's about honesty and connection. It's a record of emotional growth. One of the things I love most about crying selfies, one of the things I love most about crying, actually, it is a release. It releases oxytocin and it lowers men's testosterone, especially if both genders are in the same room. They, biological gender, by the way, not the way they identify. The crying from a woman releases oxytocin and it lowers the testosterone in men, and it deepens empathy so the other person can relate more. And what I love most about crying selfies is how they act as a visual diary of emotional journey, so you could digest it. When I scroll back through my camera roll, I can see the moments where I felt completely overwhelmed, but I can also see how far I've come since then. So it's a marker of self growth, self growth, but it is a marker of self growth. Live streaming adds another layer to this. Sometimes I'll rewatch old streams and realize how much I've grown both emotionally and mentally. These moments of sadness I once shared feel less daunting now. They've become proof of my resilience, of my strength. Older generations often see crying selfies or live streams as indulgent, but they do not realize how empowering it is to document your growth in this way. It is an actual way to see how you're progressing. And it's also when you're in a moment of weakness, you can look back and say, hey, I survived that and I'm going to survive this. It's a way of saying it's a temporary emotion. This is all temporary. This is who I was then, and this is who I am now, and I will continue to be in the present moment. It's not about wallowing in pain, it's about recognizing and celebrating progress. It normalizes vulnerability in a curated world. This is why a lot of people are sad to see TikTok, if it is banned, it is so sad to see it go because it took us away from the constant 24/7 masking of Instagram and Facebook, if you still use it, and all the other socials out there where you have to be perfect and you have to just show the highlights but not real life. It's the message of we have to hide ourselves in order to be liked. But TikTok let us be ourselves and we were still liked. We live in a world of filters, curated feeds, and picture-perfect life. Crying selfies and live streams cut through all of that. Just cuts it all. They show the raw, unfiltered side of life. the side we all experience but rarely share. When I live stream sadness or taking a crying selfie, I'm not trying to be dramatic. I'm trying to be real. I'm trying to say, hey, I'm having a moment, guys, just like you. Please come and be human with me. Come and share this moment. Give me the strength to keep going. And the realness resonates with people. I've had strangers message me after a live stream thanking me for being vulnerable because it helped them feel less alone. Being alone is being human. And like I said, it's not a bad thing. It's part of being human. You are your own best friend. But there's moments where you feel alone, but not in a good way. And so to let down those walls, you have other people build you up, lift you up. You need a community to be healthy and thriving. It's key to social wealth. Those moments of connections wouldn't happen if I never ever shared the crying selfies and I just showed a good side. I might as well have been AI. So older people who didn't grow up with social media often see vulnerability as weakness. They don't understand that showing emotions online is about broadcasting pain or woe is me. It's about breaking the stigma around mental health and creating spaces where people can be themselves. And that's a wonderful thing. Promoting mental health awareness. One of the most powerful things, and I think we've learned this since the pandemic, about crying selfies and live streaming emotions is the way they promote mental health. By sharing these moments, I'm not just expressing myself, I'm opening up a conversation about mental health for other people to share as well. This is a space of sharing, of circular communication, where everyone feels heard. For example, after one particularly emotional live stream, I received dozens of messages from people sharing their own stories of struggle and resilience. Some of them said they've never felt comfortable talking about it until they saw me openly expressing it. So you can be a role model and people will mimic this. That's the thing about vulnerability. It's contagious, but in a good way. This is a good contagion. When you show people it's okay to cry, to feel, to struggle, you give them permission to do the same. Older people often don't understand this because they grew up in a time when mental health wasn't openly discussed. But crying selfies and live streams are changing that, one vulnerable moment at a time. It is also an artistic self-expression meets authenticity. There's an artistry to crying selfies and live streaming emotions. They capture raw, unfiltered moments that words often can't describe. For me, these images and videos are a form of self-expression. They tell a story, not just pain, but of strength, resilience, and humanity. Remember, show, not tell. Older generations may not see the art in this because they're used to more traditional forms of expression, but art isn't just about beauty, it's about truth. And there's nothing more truthful than showing the world your emotions unfiltered and unedited. Why do older generations, by the way, why do they look down on crying selfies and live streaming? I've also never understood that because I've always said, right here, just because, with my little Sailor Moon pen, I am a diamond, but not in the rough. I am a polished, refined diamond, and every day I'm refining myself and my social wealth. And this reminds me of that. Just because you don't understand it doesn't make it less important. We can all respect each other. These misunderstandings come down to cultural differences. Older generations grew up in a time when emotions were private, mental health wasn't discussed, and photos were reserved for special occasions. To them, sharing a crying selfie or live streaming sadness might seem unnecessary or even inappropriate. But the world has changed. Social media has become a space for connection, authenticity, and self-expression. This is why 170 million people, TikTokers, are literally just protesting it. I mean, we all went to Red Note. Ni hao ma. Wo yao Jackie, wo yao Jackie. Hi, how are you? I am Jackie. I'm learning Mandarin to protest this. This is why it's so important. A space for mental health and a space for expression is important for emotional regulation, physical regulation, and our spiritual well-being. Crying selfies and live streams aren't about oversharing, they're about challenging outdated beliefs and creating a culture where it's okay to be vulnerable. I'll never forget the first time I live streamed while crying. I was overwhelmed, struggling with feelings I couldn't put into words. Instead of bottling it up, I turned on the camera and started talking. At first, it felt scary, like I was exposing too much, but as the comments started coming in, I realized I wasn't alone. It actually got me through a breakup in a whole different country. People shared their own struggles, offered words of comfort, and supported me, and they listened, and I needed someone to listen. That stream became one of the most healing experiences of my life. It reminded me that vulnerability isn't a weakness, it's a strength. And I know probably some of you are like, why does she have to go strength like this? I know what she's saying. Because I am communicating to you that I'm powerful. And this is a power move, by the way. This and stand like your hands on your hips makes you feel more confident and feel better. So if you do these things, you're moving energy, you're moving space, and you're building more confidence, more social wealth. It is a strength to be vulnerable. It connects us all. We are all connected. We want to embrace the power of vulnerability. Crying selfies and live streaming emotions might seem unconventional. I should just make a whole list of the words I mispronounce. But they might seem unconventional, but they're powerful tools for self-expression, connection, and growth. They validate emotions, normalize vulnerability, and promote mental health awareness in a way that nothing else can. Older generations might not fully understand why we do this, and that is okay. What matters is that we're creating spaces where people can be themselves, messy, emotional, and real. Because at the end of the day, life isn't perfect, and neither are we. And that is something worth sharing. Thank you for listening. This is Jackie Gonzales. Talk to Jax. Talk to Jax. Turn on your notifications, subscribe, comment, share, like. Let me know if you did a crying selfie. I'll see you next time. Stay strong and always think about your social wealth. Prioritize your mental, emotional, physical, spiritual wealth. It's all that you have and that you want. And then all the finances and all the physical manifestations that you want will come from that. So please stay tuned.